Okay, so this demo is how to use Pixlr. So hopefully you can see this. I got my Pixlr window open, but of course when you are opening up, this will be, from the beginning, and you'll see Pixlr. Oddly, I don't feel like I created an account, so I don't know why, but it always remembers. It's kind of creepy, what I worked on last, and you can actually see that I just worked on. The last thing I worked on Pixlr was this assignment, because these are the images, the little square black and white images. So first demo, we're going to talk about how to make these images black and white. Okay, so if you're first starting out with this, oops, I just hid myself. Okay, there I am. You're going to go to PIX. That's it. Now, when I start typing, it all just like comes up because I use it all the time. But you can see it's PIXLR. Once you type that, you're going to find it, .com. And the one that I use, I think it's the only one now, but it says X at the end. So you go to that. Yours won't have, hopefully, any images on it unless you've used it before. Upload image. Now, this is the part that's kind of weird because I'm using my Mac right now. I know how to upload an image from my desktop, and it offers me a chance to upload an image from my Apple Cloud Drive or whatever. But anyways, you guys don't have that. I think that you'll be able. You go down here, open image. I think that when this comes up for you, I think you should be able to choose from, at least from downloads, because I know that no matter what you have, even if it's a Chromebook, you have some kind of downloads folder, which means you're going to have to download your images from your Google Drive, because, most likely, unless you have another way to do it, you're probably taking your image from your camera to your Google Drive, then you're going to have to download it onto your computer and then open it from there. So you could go to downloads, but I'm also sure that your computers probably have something that's called photos or images or something like that. So anywho, you got to find it, you got to open it, right? And by the way, this is why I told you in the first video, definitely make sure that you're not shooting HEIC files. Make sure they're JPEGs. And if you have something that is an HEIC file, there are ways to convert it to a JPEG. And I will try to find a video on how to do that on a Chromebook and post it for you. We could also talk through that. It's possible, and it's really not that hard on a Mac. All you got to do is open it up in preview, go to File, Save As, and it'll change it. But I don't know what the Chromebook can do. So anywho, you open your image, and I'm just going to go down to one here that is not black and white. Okay, so this one, let's open up this one. Okay, so first off, we're going to change this to black and white. There's so many things we can do in Pixlr, but I'm going to do them one thing at a time. This is just a demo on how to turn it black and white. So you go over here on the side. The vignette is a really good filter, by the way. I might even show you how to do this at the end of that, because it actually might look good for this project. Adjust, change vibrance, colors, lightness. Okay, there you go. Colors, right? We don't want any color. We want black and white. So you can see this is so easy. You just click right here, and it's going to turn black and white. Done, right? If you have some other way that you do it, that's cool. But this is how you turn it black and white in Pixlr. You can figure out some other way on your own, but this is the only demo that I'm going to do because I can show you this and I know everyone can use it. So that's super, super easy. The next part of this is how to make it a 6x6 square. So I'm going to go ahead and go down here and apply. Now let's say that you're not happy with it and it turned out too gray, like it doesn't have any blacks and whites, and you want to increase the contrast. Then you'll want to go to, you go back to color. All these settings, play with these. There's a million things you can do. Exposure, this is really important. Exposure is actually when you push the button on the camera. So the exposure is whatever light, whatever image was captured when you push the button. You can actually try to change that post-production using this. Now, exposure to me is a very, very heavy-handed tool. It doesn't really make micro adjustments. It makes very, very large adjustments. It makes it either much lighter or much darker, and that's it. So I hardly ever use this, but you know, if you got a lot going on and it seems confusing, just use exposure. I'm gonna try to set it back to 0. Contrast. This is an awesome tool. This is probably gonna be your number one most favorite tool. My picture I have here, it's already very contrasty. When I say contrasty, I mean it's very black and very white. So when I increase the contrast, you can see, whoa, totally different. And I would say when I was in high school, all my photographs were extra, extra contrasty because it's exciting. It gives it a punch. It gives it a power. So you turn up the contrast, this is what you're going to get. You turn it down and you can see this is what you're going to get. So nobody likes that, right? But some of you guys might change your pictures to black and white and find that they look, you know, like this. Like you might not like it. And if that's the case, then turn it up. Turn up the contrast. And trust me, most of you will want to turn up the contrast. So I'm going to put mine back to 0 because, you know, I'm old. I'm chilled out now. I don't need all that contrast to prove that I know what I'm doing. No, I'm kidding. Back to 0. So these adjustments I use all the time because most of the time I really just want to pump up the blacks or the whites most of the time. So you can turn the black way up and it's, you know, might be subtle at first, but you can see it's not turning up the whites. It's just turning up the blacks. And that can be pretty cool because suddenly it's almost like nighttime. It's like creepy, right? So you can turn up the blacks. You can turn up just the whites. Sometimes I actually turn up the whites and the blacks because contrast is turning up the blacks and the whites, you know? It's just that if you do it independently where you turn up the blacks, turn up the whites, you get more control over what kind of contrast you want. So really that's just a more sophisticated way to turn up the contrast. Highlights and shadows, dude, that's the thing, same thing as black and white. I don't know. Toning, I don't know. You can use curves. Curves is dope. That's a Photoshop tool too. But curves is pretty advanced and we're gonna cover that later. It's a different way of changing both the contrast and the color and all kinds of things all at once. So we're gonna just do that later. So right now, I just want mine to be black and white. I'm actually pretty confident and pretty happy with the contrast level. So I'm gonna push apply. And then let's talk about cropping it next. I'm actually gonna stop this video and save it in case we don't have enough time. And then I'll talk about cropping it next. In the meantime though, if you don't wanna lose your image, you know, and you've gotta step away, obviously push save, put it back on your computer somewhere, and then we can open it up again. So part 2 is just gonna be cropping.